Gospel reading comes from Mark 14, verses 32 through 42. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James, and John along with him. He began to deeply distressed and troubled. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow, to the point of death," he said to them. "Stay here, keep watch." Going a little further, he fell to the ground and prayed that if it possible the hour might pass from him. "Abba, Father," Jesus said, "everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will." Then he returned to his disciples, found them sleeping. "Simon," he said to Peter, "are you asleep? Could you not keep watch for 1 hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Once more he went away and prayed the same thing. When he came back, he again found them sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. They did not know what to say to him. Returning the third time, Jesus said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Enough. The hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." Maundy, Thursday is the Thursday before Good Friday on the church calendar, the Thursday after the triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. It is a Passover celebration, and Jesus is sharing the meal with his disciples. Then how quickly things change in 4 days. There are so many different events that happen this Thursday in the life of Jesus with his disciples. This Thursday is the day that Holy Communion is set forth. This is the night that Judas betrays Jesus. This is the night Jesus washes the disciples' feet. This is the night Jesus and his disciples go to a garden. This is the night Jesus predicts that all will fall away, especially Peter. And this is the night that Jesus prays for there to be another way. This night we see Jesus' human side. All through the Gospels you see that Jesus is the Son of God and man. But here on a Thursday night, we see Jesus' human side more present than ever. We also see that the disciples still do not fully get what Jesus is trying to tell them, or who he truly is. Jesus and his disciples just finished eating their Passover meal, and they're finishing up by singing a hymn. That hymn was Psalm 118. The last line of that psalm says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever." These are the words going through all their minds as they head to a familiar place, Gethsemane. It is believed that this was a place that Jesus and his disciples went to get away from everything. And it was only fitting they go there this evening as well. Judas would know where they were heading. And in this garden, we see Jesus being fully human. And then in a few days, we'll see Jesus in a garden as fully God. The two together show us that Jesus was fully God and fully man. Tonight, he is showing us that he was fully human. He splits up the group and takes his 3 closest companions, Peter, James, and John. Jesus says it begins to be deeply distressed and troubled. Jesus then will say, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." Take that in. Jesus' words here, showing us how he felt something during this time. Jesus was overwhelmed with sorrow. You may think Jesus didn't feel anything during the cross, or he was unable to feel pain because he was God. This night, here, he shows me that he felt pain. Being God, he knew what was coming, which ravaged his soul to the point of death. Jesus falls on the ground and prays. He was so overcome that he falls to his knees. The way of praying during Jesus' time was to stand. But here we see he falls to his knees. That was how overcome with sorrow he was. The other Gospels say that Jesus was so overcome that his sweat was like blood. The pressure was crushing him. The cup of wrath from God. Jesus says, "Take this cup away from me, Father." The cup was always referred to in the Old Testament as the wrath of God. The cup would be poured out. This is all taking place at the Mount of Olives in the Garden of Gethsemane, which in Hebrew means a press. This garden must have had a press to press the olives to make oil. Here Jesus is being pressed, and his sweat and blood are being poured out. He just got done saying at the meal, "This cup is the new covenant for the forgiveness of your sins. This is my blood poured out for you." It all starts here and ends with the pouring out on the cross. Jesus being crushed like an olive, or better yet, a grape that makes wine. Jesus knows what's coming, and he's now asking, is there any other way? My sin, your sin, is doing this to Jesus. The price he's about to pay was weighing down on him, and he was weighing at the point of death. Jesus takes his 3 closest disciples, his 3 closest friends, to pray with him. He leaves them and tells them to pray and walks a little farther, and then he returns to his friends, and he finds them asleep. Are you sleeping? Is what Jesus asks Peter. Peter, you need to wake up because things will worsen, and you need to pray because the devil's coming for you. That is what Jesus is trying to tell them, especially Peter. He needed their support, and he got them sleeping. Are we any different? I read that it wasn't the disciples' fault for sleeping because this was their after Thanksgiving meal, the time everyone lays around and starts to doze off. The only difference is they weren't watching football. The Passover meal they just finished was a large meal and a celebration of what God had done in their lives. They would get tired, but yet Jesus was asking them to stay alert and pray with him. He just talked to them about being alert and waiting. In Mark 13, Jesus tells the disciples to be on guard, be alert. You do not know when the time will come. They would not know when the hour of Jesus coming again would happen. So be alert, be on guard. At another time, he tells them about the coming of the bridegroom and how those waiting for him, for the bridegroom, fall asleep and run out of oil. Be alert, be on guard. Then in Revelation, Jesus will tell the church to wake up. You act like you're alive, but you're actually dead. The church was acting like they had faith, but they did not. They just did things to look good for the community. They were dead spiritually. Jesus says, wake up. Are you sleeping? I think about those disciples and everything they had gone through up to this point. They got comfortable with Jesus. They figured nothing's going to happen from all they experienced. They watched this man walk on water, watched him calm a sea, watched him heal hundreds of people, feed thousands, and spoke with authority. Why did they have to fear? Nothing was going to happen to them with Jesus around. Jesus is just worrying about nothing, is probably what they were thinking. They watched Jesus ride in, and people worshiping him to be a king, to kick out the Romans. They felt he was the Redeemer, like Moses, to free them from their enslavement to the Romans. Why would they worry about people coming to take Jesus away? And remember, it always says they never understood the things he was speaking about himself and how he must suffer. They were comfortable, they were secure. They had just had a meal with Jesus, so why wouldn't they relax? That is what I think they did. They were relaxing in what they knew about Jesus. They got comfortable, and so they fell asleep. Jesus comes to them and says, "Are you asleep? Wake up." He says it to us as well, more so in America than in most countries around the world. We have become comfortable. We've had a large meal with Jesus, and we rest in the comfort that we have all around us. Nothing's going to happen to us. Jesus is saying, are you sleeping? Wake up. The time is coming, and you need to be alert and be on guard. The time is coming. Be alert. Be on guard. That church in Revelation thought they were doing things for Jesus, but they weren't. They were doing it for the comfort and notoriety. So why do you do what you do? Are you asleep? Have you gotten comfortable in your faith that you may have slept a little here and a little there? Jesus says, wake up. Come, be with me. I want you to know what I went through on your behalf. Stay awake so that I may show you. Then go and tell others how I have helped them. If you're sleeping, you can't go and tell. If you're sleeping, you can't go and feed his sheep. If you're asleep, you can't pray and communicate with God, the Father, through Jesus the Son and the power of the Holy Spirit. Praying pleases God because you are seeking him and you are talking with him. Jesus wanted his 3 closest companions, his friends, to spend the night with him in prayer, to help encourage him, build him up, since he was sorrowful to the point of death. But they fell asleep. We need to be rested and guarded. When danger did come and Jesus was apprehended, those who were sleeping scattered all over the place out of fear. One young man was so asleep during this time that he was caught with no clothes on. He had only his fine linen wrapped around him, and when they tried to seize him, he was left with nothing on because he left it behind. This night, we remember how Jesus prayed that God the Father would find another way for him to do his mission. He prayed 3 times for this. Then he submitted to the plan and went forward with the plan. Hebrews 12 says that we are to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who, for the joy set before him, endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sits at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. And remember Jesus, so you don't grow weary or grow faint. Remember Jesus when you start to fall asleep. Take courage in what he did. He endured such great pain the next day, great physical and spiritual pain. But here tonight, he experienced emotional pain. The pain of knowing what was coming, the pain of knowing death was ahead of him. This is why Hebrews also says that we have a high priest who knows everything that we go through and can relate. Jesus knows all the pains you are experiencing, and you need to talk with him about them. Don't ever think you can hide anything from God the Father. He already knows, and Jesus, God the Son, knows how you feel. And together they send us God, the Spirit, to comfort us. This Maundy, Thursday, as we get set to come to this table, know this table is a place where we come to meet with the one who knows all we are experiencing and knows exactly how you feel because he felt it too. At this table, he was betrayed, abandoned, and disowned by those he loved and who said loved him. The great thing about this table is that it is also where Jesus welcomes all those people back and says, "You are forgiven. Come, sit, talk with me. Why are you sleeping? Wake up. Come, eat, talk with me. What is going on with you? I know exactly how you feel." Did I ever tell you about that time on a Thursday night where I shared a meal with some friends?